Hi everybody and welcome back to Be Like Christ. In today's video we're going to talk about a question that's somewhat controversial. Is the God of the Old Testament a God of wrath? Many critics of the Bible who want to portray God as being different from the one that we see in the New Testament, and sadly many Christians also talk about the God of the Old Testament as if he's different than the God of the New Testament. The God of the Old Testament is a God of wrath. The God of the New Testament is a God of mercy. And that may happen because they open up the Old Testament and they find some verses that they would never find in the New Testament. Verses about God's destruction and bringing judgment on particularly his people, the Jewish nation. Perhaps they ran into a verse like Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 34, where God says to his people, "And I will silence in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land shall become a waste." So how can somebody find that verse in the Old Testament and not say, wow, the God of the Old Testament really is a God of wrath? This is where context and history become very, very important. And if we neglect the history and the context, we will neglect to appreciate the mercy and the forbearance of God, and will only see the wrath. Let me explain. A verse like this in the book of Jeremiah is coming at the end of hundreds and hundreds of years of God's people rebelling against him. For hundreds and hundreds of years now, he has sent prophets and he has sent his messengers to try to get the people to repent. God could have just wiped them off the face of the earth as soon as they started rebelling, right? We know that the wages of sin are death, Romans tells us, so God could have just said, I don't feel like being patient with these people, I'll just destroy them all now. But he doesn't, and he leaves them in the promised land and gives them opportunity after opportunity to reform. Even the bad things that happened to Judah and to Israel, God says that those things were him chastening or disciplining his children to try to bring them back in line with his will. It's only after they become so corrupt and so terrible and so rebellious that we get to Jeremiah. And the Babylonians are going to come and they're going to take the nation of Judah away captive. So if we just look at Jeremiah, we see a God who's angry and wrathful. But if we look at the whole picture, what we actually find is that this is a very, very patient God. Look, I can wait like 2 hours to eat, and then I become impatient. God here has waited hundreds and hundreds, centuries for his people to come back to him, and they have not. And it's only then that God's wrath is going to bring judgment on them. One application for us today is this, and that's that God is the same way with us. He's very, very patient with us, giving us many, many opportunities to make our lives right through Jesus with him. But if we continually refuse him, then eventually there is going to come a time when judgment will be brought on us for our rebellion, just like it was for the nation of Judah. Which means you need to get your life right with God today. Thank you everybody for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, do it. Share the video, like the video, comment down below. See ya next time.